inakiafa, 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 inakiafa.
Good afternoon, South Sudan. This is Gender Talk 211, and we are back for another season. First of all, a round of applause for the amazing Amani, ill-fated, one of the best vocalists I personally have ever heard. So I don't know if you heard that, but Amani, thank you so much for coming on here, and I can't wait to host you on your own episode. Thank you so much for being here. Good afternoon, Facebookers, audience, everyone that is watching us live. My name is Eva Lopa, and with me is Jackie Ben, your co-host for the Gender Talk 211 show. Today we're back for another season. And if you've read anything Gender Talk lately, we have been talking about the Anti GBV Bill. And the hashtag has been, where is the Anti GBV Bill? Definitely a question you should ask. It's definitely an answer that we need to find out. And there have been women, young women, who have been working tirelessly to find out where this bill is and to bring to light any kind of answers that we can get. Without any further ado, let me allow them introduce themselves. Ladies, welcome to the Gender Talk show. Please introduce yourself to the good people.
Well, thanks for giving us this opportunity. I'm Anna James Esbon, a finalist student from University of Juba School of Law. I'm a community lead representing the team that have been following up with the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
مساء الخير.
مساء النور.
يا أنا اسمي ديانا ريشيد. أنا متحرية شغالة في خدمة بتاعت حماية بتاعت بيقولوا بالإنجليزي Special Protector Unit. ده في القسم بيتعلق بقضايا بتاعت GBV، وأنا مسؤول بتاعت وزارة بتاعت النمو والطفل في فول أب بتاعت إجراءات بتاعت GBV Anti GBV Bill.
مرحبا بك في البرنامج.
Good evening. أنا اسمي my name is Nyamal Koailim. I work as an entrepreneur. I do some small businesses, support some families. I lead a team that follow up these GBV bills to the Parliament, the National Legislative Assembly, revitalize.
Right.
Yeah.
The transitional, you mean? Okay, got you. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here. I'm really happy to have all of you here. Quite impressed that young people, young women are following up with this very important bill. And I want you to give me, tell me first about this bill. What is it and why is it so important?
Of course, this bill is the Anti GBV Bill, which is the gender-based violence bills that was formed in 2020, sent to Minister of Justice for finalizations and formulation of it. Of course, this bill is very important as we speak right now in South Sudan. There's a lot of violence rising up. Most of these violence are out of hand. You can see this in every household, or you can see in every street. there's a mistreatments taking place. Most of these things could be the economic crisis. Maybe we are not yet stable politically or something like that. But it's still, even though it's still, there is a need for that bills because we have, laws have to govern us too. And in case you commit a crime, there should be a consequences of that crime. You should pay. But because that bills is not in place nowadays, it's very easy for someone to do a crime and then to walk away with it. And nobody run after you, nobody follow up. Most of the things are just slip like that. And especially recent incidents, this young lady that her eyes was God out
Yes.
by her father, which is, it shouldn't be like that. If your child don't listen to you, you had a right of disowning. Like, let that child go, but you don't have a right of taking available things out of that human being. Okay, you are the father, but you don't own the human being. That couldn't be.
Right.
Actually, if we have that bill, at least there should be an action be taken.
Right.
A little girl was raped and dumped in. Like, when you
Pit
talk,
latrine, yes.
yeah. Once you talk about all these things, it's discussed, and there's something to be done about it.
I agree. ديانا احكي لنا شوية البيل ده هو شنو؟ بالعربي كده وبالواضح كده. وبعدين هي جمال قالت حاجة مهمة شديد، قالت لو ما في قوانين حاجات زي ده هتحصل كتير. صح؟ لكن في قانون. في قانون في البلد ده. ليه البيل ده جاي وهو مهم شديد وممكن يساعد؟ ليه البيل ده؟ في قوانين بتقول انت لو عملت كده بيحصل لك كده. البيل ده بالذات مهم ليه هنا؟
اوكي البيل ده بالعربي بيقول له مكافحه، بنقول لهم مشروع بتاعت مكافحه العنف ضد النوع الاجتماعي. القانون ده مهم شديد لشنو؟ بالذات في مجال بتاع الشغل حقي ده هو معظم القضايا اللي قد بواجه الناس بصفه خاصه النساء. ده معظم القضايا بواجهنا بصفه عامه. في قوانين لكن القوانين بتحسبها حشه شويه في حته بتاعت مواجهه بتاعت القضايا دي بتاعت العنف ضد النوع ده. زي ما اختي قالت انه القانون دي لما بتجي لما الاهميه بتاعته بيحمي حقوق بتاعت النساوين دي. انا بديك في المثال عندنا زي قضيه بتاعت الجنة اللي قالوا لك انه ده لو جينا في اجراءات بتاعت عقوبات قانون العقوبات لسنه 2008 العقوبه حقته عقوبه حشه شديد. يعني في ماده 235 من البينال كود يا هو قانون العقوبات انه ده بيتكلم عن الاذى الجسيم. ده من ضمنه بتقع على جريمه حصل للطفل ده بتاع انه هنا اتقلع من قبل ابوه. يلا هناك بيتكلم حتى عن طلوع بتاعت العين او بتري بتاعت يدين. لكن لو جيت رجعت تهدي العقوبه بتحس ان العقوبه بس فيها 4 سنوات سجن. يا 4 سنين سجن.
العقوبه ما قدر الجريمه.
لا ما قدر الجريمه كبيره لكن العقوبه بسيط خالص انه بيتعاقبوا. ده واحد. نمرة 2 في نفس الشيء القانون ذاته احيانا ما بيدعم شديد. لو مثلا زي الاب الاهل لو يتدخلوا يا ده حاجات بتاعت اسره وشنو بتلقى انه قانون قد بدون ثغره. راتكم جاني في بيت بنقول بالعربي يا يتكلموا شويه. احنا بنشوف انه المشروع بتاعت مكافحه العنف ضد النوع ده مهم جدا البيل لانه احنا بيفولو اب عشان القوانين اللي هناك الموجود جواه اقوى من القانون الموجود في البينال كود حقتنا. ده المحتاج انه التغيير. لكن عشان لو قلنا مثلا في جريمه زي انا ما شايف انه العقوبه دي بتستحل الجريمه اللي ارتكبت دي. على الاقل جريمه زي 15 سنه السجن هي 10 سنه السجن على الاقل ايفن من الاب. ثاني شيء القانون بتاعنا ضعيف شويه بالذات حاجات اللي بتتعلق باسره ده ما قد بيطبقوه بالصوره الرسمي كده. يعني عشان فيها صله الغرابه يهودا قال بيعتل من الحته دي. والقانون ده مهم شديد بجد للحمايه بتاعت حقوق بتاعت النساوين. انا في مجال بتاعت نعمل حقي قد اشوف مجموعه حاله من النساوين قاعدين بيعانوا ازاي من ضمن مش الحاسي ده بيفول العنف المنزلي زي انا زي ما قلت لكم في الاول. لكن في قضايا ثانيه مهمه منها هون دائما بيتعلق في القضايا بتاعت التحرش ده. التحرش بتلقى بكميات كثيره وهو ايضا بيلقى ياهو العنف ضد النوع ده مع انه الناس ما قادرين يركزوا فوقه. والاكثر شيء بيواجه الناس الموظفات. يعني ما زول يمكن بيقولوا مثلا في فيليج ولا في بلد ولا في قريه لكن ده الموظفات اللي بيكونوا شغالين يلا ما بيكون عندهم صوت عشان يتكلم. بالذات لما رئيسك في العمل يعمل لك مثلا في مكتب حركه ولا اشاره ما بنشوف يعني ما بتشاف برا لكن جوا كده تبدي تاثر به. لما تمشي ده تفتح البلاغ اول بس قالوك شاهد فيه ما انه زي قضيه زي ما في شاهد جوا سادين رئيسك بيتحرش عليك ده ما في شاهد جوا هناك في اثناء القضيه، لكن بسالهم كان عندك شاهد صدقوني بالاخر ده بيكون ما عنده اهميه كده.
ومعظم قضايا زي ده بيجي بدون شاهد.
معظم القضايا زي قد بيجي بدون شاهد عشان حاجه بيقع جوا المكتب. ده واحد. نمرة 2 ذاته بيقوموا بيسالوا اسئله ما عنده علاقه بالطبيعه، انه المدير ده مثلا حبشك ازاي، ولا انت كنت قاعده يعني اسئله كده
لابسه شنو
بتاع زي ده حاجه كده عجيب. عشان كده احنا بنتمنى انه القانون بتاع المشروع بتاع المكافحه ده مهم شديد عشان بقدر بيساند يدعم القانون بتاعنا بتاع العقوبات الحاسه، عشان قانون العقوبات ده حشه بصوره عامه حشه شديد.
Okay. You know, sometimes it's very important. Not sometimes, all of the time. It's quite important that you have women from different sector or cut across different sectors. So we always try and speak to the lawyers and police officers and bring everybody together because the perspectives are different. Some of the things that you're saying, I don't know. Only probably someone who works within, the sector of law, would know things like that. And so it's important to have people or women even that cut across so that they're able to tell you this is where it's weak, this is where we need to fix it, and we need to put something extra in here. So I really like when women come, full circle, and I love that you speak Arabic, because a lot of the times we miss out with women who speak the Arabic language. And, a lot of the times they're excluded from being a part of making important bills like this happen because there's a language barrier. But I'm glad that, it's coming full circle, and I can't wait to hear the outcome of this campaign. I know me and Jackie usually sit on this show, and I think month to month, sometimes it'll be day to day or week to week, that there is a new incident out there that we have to discuss. We have the gender news, and it's usually back to back, and every time there's something to talk about that brings the energy completely down, and we both feel unprotected, right? Do you want to, I know we were talking about it just before the show came on, but go ahead and share some of the cases that have been, of significance to you, or you felt a certain way about.
Yeah, there are a lot of cases that has been happening, and we can find it all over the social media. But then we sometimes, are being threatened because people don't want the truth to be said, and sometimes we find the owners of, for example, the case of this young girl whose eyes were black, gouged out with the further. So when somebody spearhead, like a young person, for example, if I'm to be saying something about that, people are so defensive. Individuals are so defensive. And when you hear the conversation around even on social media, it's like what happened to this young girl is not something painful. People talk as if she deserved it. And then that also has to do with the mentality of thinking like maybe a father has to control like every power over a child to extent of damaging. Of course, every parent need to guide their children. But then I don't see a point if it's really like trying to normalize, things that are inhuman. Yeah. So that sometimes when we talk about it, it's like we are not mentioning things that are really inhuman, and we are blamed for that. It's like we are not supposed to, talk about things that are inhuman, especially to female or young girls, So sometimes it's scary when you read certain things. People also follow you up on personal level, trying to scare you away so that you don't talk about it. So for me, I feel like we cannot keep quiet because everybody knows the truth. And if you know the truth, you have evidences, you witness certain event, the truth always stands for itself. And we keep calling that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of times that we sit on the show and we talk about different topics where we get a lot of backlash online and resistance. You're always met with resistance. How has it been leading this campaign for you? I mean, have you been met with any resistance? What has been the response of the people? I mean, the campaign was taken all over social media, and you've all been closely following up with the different ministries and so on, and I know you've been very outspoken about it. So what was it like for you? What was the response?
Well, before I may answer you that, like gender-based violence is like everyday reality in South Sudan, and it is just rooted in the patriarchal structure whereby men are the head of the household, and like everyone is facing that violence, even also men are included, but then the women and young girls, they are the most, like the majority that are affected by that. You go everywhere, there's violence, the percentage increases like every day. So it's really a challenge to us. So like we as Ma Mara Sakit Village, like we, of course, when you're coming up with something, there are a lot of challenges, but then you don't give up since you want to make an impact on that. So yeah, like posting on social media about asking where the bill is, like people try to misunderstood the community itself, like Ma Mara Sakit Village. When you try to say like it's a feminist community, they'll be like, wow, so you're becoming feminist, you're trying to be against men, you don't want to get married, all these things, not knowing. So they are now trying to address this issue. We campaigning for it. They're saying maybe we're just campaigning because we want those rights for us as women and young girls in South Sudan. So they are trying to come up with excuses whereby, so if you women are saying that you're affected, women we are also affected. They come up with such questions. They're trying to be protective. They don't want the truth to be said out. So like there are a lot of challenges, but then we are not giving up. So we are saying enough is enough on that. We are just trying like, to normalize all those like negative perception about women. They just can't do anything about it. So we're trying to tell them this campaign, it's going to result, like it's going to favor both genders, like not only women and girls, but also, young boys are even facing that violence whereby they're forced to marry before their 18th birthday also. So it's really a lot of challenge, but we are not giving up.
Yeah.
South Sudan is ours, and we are continuing with it till we make an impact on it.
100%. I know that you're following up closely with the Ministry of Justice, and that is the last known place for this. Can you tell me a bit more about where the bill ended up, and if we know why it has not moved, or what exactly is happening?
Well, as we followed up with the Ministry of Justice, and of course it's where the bill is pending. So we tried to ask where is the bill exactly and why is it pending? That they just told us like it's all about priority. So they just came up with a list of the laws that are supposed to be passed, and knowing that the bill is not among those laws. So that they're telling us like they're concentrating on peace agreement, laws that can, all about peace. So the bill is not part of it. So I'm even wondering, like, if women and young girls are dying daily, you don't call it like that is
why is that not a priority?
Yeah, why it's not a priority on that? Because we are really facing a lot. Like all these current cases that have come up with, they can't look into that because women are suffering. What if we include men? Are they going to do it faster than that? Because they just told us like they're trying to prioritize their peace agreement laws, so they have not yet passed that.
Violence against women, or if we want to say GBV, is a form of a war as well, because it is violence against women. So this should be a priority. It should be on your top of the list, especially that people are suffering of it on a daily basis, directly on a daily basis, in large numbers, because let's not sugarcoat it. We heard about maybe 5-6 cases that have gone viral. How many have been reported? Do we know? How many have not been reported? How many have stayed in silence? How many have died and never even spoken up? You know what I mean? We don't look at the other side of things. It's just, okay, let's give it this 15 minutes because it's viral, because it's headlining right now. But there's a lot more happening, and we all know that, whether in your neighborhood, your family, something that's happening in the village, and so on and so on. We hear about it every day. We know that it's happening. Diana, for you being in the as an officer, how does this make you? في إحساسك شنو؟
اوكي من ياتو ناحية.
يعني أنا بتخيل if I'm an officer and there's nothing I can do.
يا بجد
يعني ما قادرة أعمل أي حاجة ولا أساعد.
حاجة دي من أكتر حاجات قد بيجاهني في الحتة دي بالذات في مجال حقتي. نقول فور اكزامبل أنا بكون أحيانا قاعدة في المكتب. طبعا أنت لما تجي القسم أول حاجة بتمشي برسول للنيابة عشان النيابة هو بيفتح لك البلاغ. أحيانا بتلقى نمسك إنه راجل دقة مرته. أبسط مثال بنمسكها بتجي أنت جاي تعمل ريبورت أو جاي تقدم شكوى إنه أنت راجلك دقة قبل كده. النيابة بيكتبوا لك كويس. لما نيجي لبوليس زي أنا زي ديل أوكي إحنا ديل في الجندة هناك إحنا متفاهمين عشان إحنا عارفين. لكن أنا نمشي لتاني في أسئلة كده بيسألوك بطريقة كده مستفز بالذات لما تتكلم. طبعا في ناس بيتكلموا بحرارة وبقلب سخن طوال بيقول يا ما عشان كده دقيقة يعني هم بيخلوك انك بتحس بذنب خالي الشديد. دي أول حاجة كنا من كثرة حاجات اللي بتحصل كنا قدمنا طلب للمدير انه اي قضية بيتقلق بجي في بي ما يطلع من المكتب حقنا عشان احنا بنعرف انه الطريقه احنا بنهاندل بول كيس زي كيف. يعني في حاجات كتير
ما بيدربوكم ذاته كيف تتعاملوا مع
احنا معظم الوقت بودونا في تريننج. لكن هم بيقولوا لنا انت لما بتكون متحري في قضايا ما تشوف للعادات بتاعك تقاليد بتاعك ولا الطريقه بتاعت ايش زول جاي قدامك شوفه از بيرسون ان لازم بتكون انت عندك حقوق الانسان. انه انت البوليس اوفيسر لازم تكون عندك الحق الانساني اول تنظر عليه قبل ما تشوف الخلفيه بتاعت الزول ده. قبل ما تشوف انه الزول ده جايني بطريقه ده انا اقوم اطرده. يا احيانا بيطردوا الناس امشي غيره تعال بعد دور تعال قدم شكوى حقتك وده غلط. يعني انت دينت الزول قبل ما تسمع الزول اللي جاي. يعني تخيل انه مكان البوليس ده مكان بتاع الامن لو في زول فاجأ طوالي بكلام كده تاني في مكان بتمشي فيه وبتقول حاجه ما بلقوا. على فكره ناس كتير في احياء ما احنا بنكونوا قاعدين خارج مجال بتاع الشغل بيكون قاعدين في هله ناس بتقول ما كنت كنت بوليس ذاته جار هوا عشان انت برا في كيس بيجرجريته من مكتب ده لمكتب ده لمكتب ده لمكتب ده نيتك بيقفلوا دي قاعد بخلي ناس كتير ما بيكون عندهم حماس يجي يفتحوا بلاغ يجي يشتكوا ولا ده. ما ان احيانا احنا بنحاول بنشجعهم انه انت ما تشتغل بالكلمات بتاعت الناس. انت امشي بس خليك انت واثق في حقك ده. احيانا في حاجات كمان بيخليك تتاثر انه بتشوف زول ممكن تدق مرته بعد دي يلا يتقبض عليه وفي نفس الوقت ده نفس يوم ده عمل اجراءات وفكه. يعني انت متوقع شعور وبيرجع البيت وبيمشي ذاته لنفسه مره الهدى الجو ده. يعني تخيل شعور بتاع اسمه ده بيكون أليم جدا. شعور بتاعت المرأة أليم. والحاجة الثانية احنا زي عنصر النسائي احنا ما بكمية هايلة. يعني بتلقى الجسم مثلا فيه 30 ضابط بتلقى العنصر النسائي ده 3-4 ده في الجسم كامل. يعني ما قاعدين يكونوا بكمية كده اللي بيقدر يتحملوا القضايا بتاعت العنف الجنسي بصفة عامة العنف ضد النوع بصفة عامة. يحو عشان كده برضه في المجال ده عشان كده بنشيل دايما من الضباط العنصر الرجالي عشان ندربهم انه كيف يتعاملوا بالقضايا ده. جبالك اختي دي منشن حاجه مهمه شديد. انت عارف القد بخلي انه ما قاعدين نتقدم لشنو. فاحنا بدينا كامبين بتاعت انتي جي في بي ده. انت بتتاسف لاقي انه يمكن انا بنزل الليله بوست بتاعت حاجه كده ما بيستاهل بتلقى كومنت شيرينج. لكن حاجه ده ناس معينين ده عشان التاويه ضعيف جدا في الحته ده
صح.
انا عندي زي ما تيجي لي حسي ازاي حاجتكم ده هيوصل وين. هيوصل انتوا هتعملوا شنو ماشيين بول بحاجه ده وين. حاجه الثانيه انا ما قاعد احاجم الغاده بتاعنا لكن ما نكونوا ناس واقعيين. انا بالنسبه لي طبعا انا عارف الليله الناس اللي قاعدين وضعوا القوانين الحسي حاليا ده نقول امسك شيء قانون عقوبات ده ما انه انا متاكد كان في ناس قاعدين يتعبوني ده اكتر قانون انا قاعد اطعن فيها. ودايما انا قاعد اقول حته الكلمات ده لو احنا بدانا في العنف الجنسي نمسك في الاغتصاب مواد حقه ده ضعيف شديد. 14 سنه ده انا ما شايفه كفايه للاغتصاب. 14 سنه ده ما كفايه. يمكن بتكون بطرق مختلفه انه انت اغتصبت زول اقل من 18 سنه. يعني الطفل نبقى بدل من اي طفل اقل من 18 17 سنه الاقل اساسا العقوبه خليه يكون 20 سنه. 20 سنه دي لو انا قلت ده على الاقل كمان ما اكتر. لكن الاغتصاب اللي بيقع على زول كبير لكن بدون اراده، يعني كثير اغتصابات بتقع على الناس الكبار مثلا في إلاغة. انا مشيت مثلا لحبيبي وانا ما عايزه نام معي بقوه، ده لنا هناك ده اغتصاب. ده ممكن انا بقول خليه يقع ل 14 سنه ده 10 سنه ده عشان اوريدي كانوا متفاهمين في إلاغة. لكن حتى طبعا في مجال الاغتصابات اهم حاجه الرغبه والرضا. الرغبه والرضا لو ما في هو
اغتصاب.
اغتصاب. الحته الثالثه اللي انا عايزهم بجد، انا عايز اساسا الناس زي هي هم وزاره بتاعت العدل والجماهير ده كله يركزوا فيه، حته بتاعت انه الإلاغة بدون رضا بين الراجل والمراه لا يعد اغتصابا. ده هو حته انا متخصص فيه كثير.
الرجل والمراه المتزوجين
لا يعد اغتصابا. لكن دي اكتر حته حاره اساسا. في ناس كل يوم بيغتصبون في بيوتهم، هم متزوجين لكن كل يوم بيغتصبون الا هو بيكون عنده صوت. I want
to translate to the good people what you're saying right now, because I think it's very important. So what Diana is saying, she's saying her call is for the ministries, especially the Ministry of Justice, to focus on the area of rape. Right now the sentencing for rape is 14 years, you said?
Yeah.
14 years, and that's not enough. I don't even need to ask you whether you think that's enough or not, because it's not. That is not enough sentence. We definitely need that raised to another number. And then she's saying there is no clause that exists that addresses marital rape. That is rape within two married couples. It doesn't exist at all. And this is something that frequently happens, that, someone is married, your husband comes home and he wants to have sex and you don't want to, and they still force themselves on you. That is not considered rape, but it is, because there is no consent. If you do not give consent, whether you're married or not, that is rape. And we don't have any clauses or laws that address that specifically. Yeah, I think that's a very, very important point, because there needs to be something that protects married women. And I think often, as much as all women are victims of many of our laws that don't address certain things, I think married women a lot of the times fall deeper victims of all of these, because now once you are married, you're completely handed over and you belong to that man, and there's nothing that protects you anymore. And I think that's very wrong, because it's almost like saying once you're married, we don't consider you human anymore. You belong, you're the property of somebody else. No, I am human. I deserve to be treated as such. We are demanding to be treated as such. That's literally what we're fighting for, at least some of the women that we are fighting for them to get this right. So I want to hear also your comments online and what you guys think about all of these laws, and also the non-existent laws that possibly the Anti GBV Bill is going to address each and every one of them. And what's your take on the campaign itself? Like we mentioned earlier, we get a lot of resistance. I'm sorry, they're looking at me weirdly. There's a camera over there, and that's why I'm talking to the audience. Yeah. So yeah, what's your take on the campaign? We're talking about a lot of resistance. We're met with a lot of resistance, and this is not a priority. I've heard that so many times, even online, especially Twitter. It's not a priority right now. We've got a war. Women always come in, you get peace in the hereafter. Let's work it out after this and that. No, we want it now, and it's important to us. So what's your take on it, and what do you think?
And I think Diana made a very good point, because it's like, because there is no law that protects couples, and that also encourage men to have a feeling like they control women bodies, for example. Like they control women bodies, because like it's more of ownership. When you're married, you becomes a man property, and he can do anything he wants with you, having known at the back of their mind that there is no also set legal law that seek for consent when maybe want to have your wife. I think that could be another thing. So Diana, that's really an issue.
What do you think we want to achieve? Right? Maybe Nyamali, you can answer me first. What are we trying to achieve with this? Where is the Anti GBV bill? And why is it important that everyone understands that this bill is very important? And how do we move forward when we're met with answers like, it's not a priority? Do we stop? How do we move?
Actually, everything is not a priority in South Sudan, so most of everything, yeah. So I think we don't need to stop. Yeah, we have to move forward. Because I had a scenario, but like, if you want something, you don't give up. As we want the bills, we see the bills is more important. The people who are affected, it's not only girls and women, even men. There's some boys also who are under that, follow under that. We have a lot of street boys here. Are they not supposed to be in schools? Do we have something guiding them?
Right.
So this bill is more important for everyone. Actually, it's important for all South Sudanese. Because economically, things are tough. And that things is breaking down the houses. So we don't have a family laws which is guiding. You see most of these women, as Sister Diana said, they came to the police station. Most of those violent is when a man goes out there, try to search for money, he didn't get anything, his anger will come down to the wife.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wants something the wife could not provide, and then the next thing is violent.
Yeah. I know that you've used a few cases to push this campaign. Can you mention some of those cases and why you specifically chose those cases to push this campaign?
We have this case of Rebecca that was shot by her husband. We have this case of this is 3 years old or 5 years old girls, Abuk. We have this case of this girl beaten to death by her brothers. Of course, the overall come from the father, like beat her. She's a property, yeah? She have to be beaten because she got pregnant. It's like, so those cases when you see, it couldn't be a human act, seriously, beating someone because they got pregnant.
Yeah.
Beating someone because, like, I have been in a relationship with you, we were okay, we got married, we have kids, but now then I see it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So let's depart peacefully. Go and continue your life. I'll continue my life. You're still my father, the father of my kids. We're still a South Sudanese. In harmony, we'll meet. It doesn't mean because I don't want, we have a different, and then now you pick a gun and kill me. It doesn't give you a right. That's not your right. So those cases, as me, I see these are not human acts. And if there's something that needs to be done about it, we have to do it. And these are the few cases, as you mentioned earlier, these are the few cases that rise up. There are a lot of them down there. And as I'm speaking to you now, something is happening. And when it's not in the table, then nobody knows. And people don't talk about it.
Are there any acts or so on within the bill that address divorce? Do we know?
Not really, but the act's there, but it's not addressing the divorce as when the family could not get together, you should depart. It's like addressing of find out what's the issue and settle it at a family level. So everything goes back to the family level, everything goes back to the community, traditions. We even have community court.
Right.
That today I want to divorce, I go to the community court, I don't want that girl, and that's it. But when a woman goes there, they'll ask why and what.
Yeah.
So they'll have to investigate. And then when a man comes and is like, she's A, B, C, D, she walking, she doesn't listen to me, she's A, she's B, and then there's like, because they got a job now, they have money, they think they're men. And then that case is closed. No need for divorce, go back to your house, go and understand, they will call your family, come, talk to your daughter. Is she not ashamed? She's putting you people. But when a man actually did that, even if a woman does want to divorce, there's no question like that. The man is the head of the family. Nobody will check that woman. in that house. I cannot send that woman back to that house. That will be the judge to say that. And then the woman should just go back to her family house.
Yeah, I'm just finding it very, I think with Rebecca's case, Rebecca, the Bedouin,
Rebecca,
Bedouin shooting, she was shot by her husband. And I don't know if this is true, but my understanding is they had been separated for some time. But she wasn't able to get a divorce for one reason or the other. So just in my head, flipping it could, our laws have something to do with that as well. You know, in South Sudan is extremely difficult to get a divorce, especially when your husband does not want it.
Yes.
Right? Because now we have the customary law that comes in and now starts protecting. Go ahead, Diana. I know you probably know more.
Yeah, I want to talk. Okay, sorry. أنا قاعد أتكلم عن الطلاق ده عشان ده أكتر حاجة بجد نسوي قاعد أسربوه في جنوب السودان هنا. في قانون بتاعنا كان قانون عقوبات، قانون إجراءات جنائية، القوانين الأخرى ما عندنا قانون زي ده. أختي ما ذكرت إنه إلا في قانون بتاعت المحكمة البلدية ولا هو المحكمة الأهلية ده ولا المشروع بتاعت البيل في الحته بتاعت الطلاق ده. انت عارف ليش شنو؟ اختي ريبيكا انه الراجل قتلوا ده بتوع انا ما قدرت ادي لمرة حق عشان انك تطلق. انا الليله ما بقدر، ما عندي حق نمشي نقول للمحكمه والله هذا نطلق راجل لا عشان مشاكل 1 2 3. افضل حاجه نقول يمكن الراجل ما مسؤول نهائيا، ما مسؤول، ما في حاجه بديني حق نمشي نقول عندنا نطلق راجل لا. وانا متاكده كان عندنا قانون اللي بيساند واللي عنده حق بتاعت الطلاق كان ريبيكا ما بتكون وكيل زي ده وصلت انها هي توفت، عشان هي كان بتمشي بطريقه قانونيه، بتقدم وبتم طلاقها بطريقه قانونيه واي زول بيعرف. حتى موت بتاعت ريبيكا كان مؤسف جدا عشان الناس في الاول الناس بدأوا يدينوها يا انت ما انا متزوجه البخيت تطلع شنو، ما يعرفوا اساسا ورا الكلام ده ولا الحاصل شنو، ولا هم بيعرفوا انه المره دي قاعده مع الزول ولا لا. دي حاجه نمره واحد. نمره اثنين المجتمع بتاعنا مجتمع رقيق جدا، ضعيف جدا. يعني الليله الزول ممكن يعرسك، طبعا دي رساقاتنا احيانا انت بس بتطلع حملان قال خلاص انت بقيت مرتي،
خلاص انت بقيت
انت بهذه الطريقه ما عندنا اي اساسا اسمه ده الصيغه بتاعت الزواج.
هذا ما قبلت ذاته، انا ما قبلت الزول كيف.
لكن ده حتى اللي بيقول انه المراه كان نقول المراه ما عنده حقوق في جنوب السودان عشان الراجل لك ان شاء الله خلاص انت زي ممتلكات بتاعت البيت، كرسي في بيت، ترابيزه في بيت، اوكي لايك هو بيستخدموا بزمن خديره، ما بتقدر تكون عندك صوت. يا عشان كده قانون بتاعت الطلاق ده مهم جدا. عشان كده احنا قاعدين نحاول انه بنطفي الحته بتاعت البيت خليه يمشي قدام بتاعت البيت عشان بنلقى حقوق بتاعت المراه في الحته بتاعت الطلاق بصفه خاصه، عشان نساوين كتير قاعدين في بيت بتاعت الزوجيه مش عشان الرغبه بتاعتهم، عشان ما في قانون قد بيحميهم. ما انت في النهايه هي انسانه عندها حق، انت ممكن تكفيني في قفص بدون اراده بتاعتي بحته بتاع شنو انه المجتمع ما بسمح لك ده تطلقه، بيفتش لك 100 اسباب عشان تدي اسباب رسمي انه عشان الراجل يطلقك. السبب الوحيد المحكمه المدنيه بيختنبوه كراجل ما قد بيصرفك لمده 3 سنة 4 سنة هي خلاص ممكن بسمحوا لي طلاق. لكن بس نفسيا كده انا انا ما ادري الراجل لا ما عندي رغبه لشنو لا بيبدأ يفتش لك مجموعة من الأسباب بيجبرك إنك تشتغل في بيت في حتة بتاعت الزواج ده بدون إرادة بتاعتك. لكن حاجة اللي أنا قاعدة بطالب به إنه خلي الناس يركزوا كتير للمشروع بتاعت مكافحة العنف في النوع ده، عشان احنا عايزين برنامج بتاعت الطلاق ده لازم ينزل جوا، ما يكون في تاني ريبيكات تانيات بيجي بيحصل لهم زي ما حصل لريبيكا. ده واحد. ونمرة 2 خلي الناس يقفلوا الحتة بتاعت الليلة انه ما راح حصل له اي حاجه طوال قاعدين نوتوا اي ما ده سبب
هي غلطان،
هي غلطانه. يعني انت مره ده لايك انا ما اعرف انا بوصف انه مره ده في جنوب السودان قاعدين يشوفوه بهذه الطريقه حاجه مؤسف جدا.
I think the biggest issue for me with this usually is even if she did something wrong, it would not warrant this type of, you know, this cannot be the consequence. This is inhumane. Even if, I don't care, she was being accused of a lot, or she probably cheated, she doesn't stay home, she probably, even if she did all of that, it does not warrant what happened to her. It does not excuse what happened to her. It is wrong. And when someone does something wrong, especially men, we have to hold them accountable and say, this was wrong. Yeah. And if they need to be sentenced, then that's what needs to happen. We have to stop protecting men within the society. It's something we're used to doing. We've normalized it, that now it feels very normal for a man to kill a woman, and someone will still come out publicly and say she deserved it, yet he pulled the trigger. That was the part that was very insane to me and made me feel even extremely unsafe. I think we had the show on during that time, and the day it happened, we had a show a day later or 2 days later, and we didn't have that show because I didn't have I was not mentally stable during that time, because Rebecca could be an Anna, Diana, Eva, Jackie, it can be any woman, literally. So it's important for us to understand also that we need to continue to speak up. We have to speak up, especially women. No one is speaking up for you. Like, no one is speaking up for us. When this campaign came on, I know that we talk about male allies sometimes and so on, but it's just you. It's just you fighting for this. And I bet you everywhere that you have to go within the ministries, it's a woman in there that has to handle this. Do you know what I mean? So when we come to you and we're pushing, when we come to every ministry and we're trying to push, help another woman out. You know what I mean? Because women have to look out for each other. That's why we fight for us to be within as many spaces and every space, because you have to protect women within every space. So just my take on this, on what's been happening online and whatnot. That's what I was sharing. But Anna and Jackie, I think I'm going to guess you're the youngest in the group. You're a student, right? Okay, Anna's a student. Jackie is also a student. I'm going to guess maybe I'm the youngest. I was, why are you laughing? I was 16 not very long ago. Oh, wow.
Then I'm still 14.
Oh. So I'm going to guess that the two of you are the youngest in the group. Like, what cases, I'm just interested to know what cases affected you the most, and also what are you looking for within this bill? Like, what are you looking for this bill to address as young people? Anna, you can go first.
Well, like, why we need this bill to be passed, and like, the reasons that's why we need this bill is looking into South Sudan, like the dual nature of the legal system. We have the customary, like the statutory and the international laws, of which they're really conflicting and even limiting us from doing other things. Much as the Constitution is the Supreme Court of the Supreme Court of the Supreme Law of the country, but then it overrides the other laws. And then looking into the rural areas, we still have the customary laws, of which is still difficult for young girls, to come out with those things, to come even openly and report like such a thing happened to me. Something of that kind. If you're raped, they'll shy out. They'll be like, no, I should not tell, because if she tells, she'll be ashamed. This. And sometimes, like this image-based violence in social media, you have seen there are other videos that have gone viral in social media.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
True. Revenge porn has been coming up.
Exactly, and you see even as like the young guys, they'll be like, a female person will be like, no, send for me that video as a woman, and you still want to watch that, not knowing that is violence. You can imagine on that. It's shaming. Men they just wanted to shame us, and some young women are just taking like it's a job because it's social media, anything can happen, not knowing like social media is a platform of just giving out information, and you take the important part of it. You can advocate for that. So like we are really facing a lot of, like, there are a lot of cases outside there. Like a friend of mine was saying, like she stays in Gudele, and Like there's a neighbor who works late. That lady just comes home late, and there was a time she was raped. And you can imagine what people were asking, like, what was she putting on? You know, they're trying to blame the victim herself. Yeah, they're blaming like trying to, was she wearing a miniskirt? What was the clothes? And they even, those things, they're really perturbing us, and we are really going a lot as young women of South Sudan, and we need that thing. Because looking into the other laws, like the Penal Code, the Child Act, they're scattered and in different ways, because you cannot just, they are really unfriendly and inaccessible, because you cannot just go to the local government act and you see it's talking all about like the customary laws, the A code, B code, all those things. Reaching there, a woman is not even given the chance like to divorce, or even it's really perturbing us, and we are facing a lot of things.
Yeah, for me, Eva, it's insecurity and lack of proportionality. Imagine, there was a friend of mine, I read the story here. Last year, she was disowned by the father because she refused to get married to a man who is even maybe 3 times her age. She was disowned, and she went to Egypt with some friends who supported her. So most of the cases that happens to young people, for us young people, how it's treated, it's even more than what happened. Like, it's like we deserve it. The day before yesterday, there was a thing all over the social media. I was shocked to see that a girl of 16 was on a bed, like literally not naked, with a man of over 40 years. So somebody somewhere just took, I don't know how they got a video, went and give the full name of that girl. She's 16, and somebody underage, you see. So for me, I was feeling so insecure, because it's like even people are trying to shame us, take advantage of people, ladies, girls who cannot consent to certain acts. For me, in my opinion, if that person wanted to expose the evil to be, to be maybe solved, the person would have taken the photo of that old elderly man, okay, to correct, because that girl cannot consent, and that has to do with somebody's future. So now the image went viral on social media. She's not married, she's still somebody growing. What sort of image? Like, how will she even manage to stay in a society? Okay, and this is somebody who still have a long way to go, and this guy is over 40, going to 50s. He's already sloping, if I could say. But then where is the future of this girl? Okay, it's kind of creating a mental picture of, reigning the future of somebody. So what I see is we are not secured as young people, and some of the things that are done, cases of inhuman act, I could say, on young girls, it's like we deserve it because we don't listen to our parents. It's when they see, for example, like this case that I've just shared, the underage girl, it's related to money. So if it's related to money, how do even elderly people who can reason concern the age of your daughter, how is that related to money issue? And then they begin blaming, or money become a main thing, like you said before. So they look for a blame all over, even to a person that cannot consent.
Right.
Yeah, underage cannot consent. They look for a blame game so that she appears, to put on that younger person. So that is really something like, it's not appropriate to do. And also that means most of the things that happens to young girls, even at their family levels, if it is done and if it's inhuman, it's seen like we deserve it because we don't listen to our parents. So if I don't listen to my parents, should they kill me? Does that make me listen more if I'm dead, if my eyes are removed? Okay, so these are the questions around. So this really create a space of insecurity, and we feel scared, like you're not even safe in your own house. Yeah.
I think what you're saying is very powerful, and you two brought up something so important, and that is cyber security.
Yeah.
It comes into play. The cases like revenge porn. How does the bill address such, such things. I know revenge porn is something new that came up. We also have a lot of different forms where you see so many pictures being shared and then information of people are being shared. I think whether you're a minor or not, of course, if you're a minor, it's even worse. Yeah. But even if you're not supposed to share somebody's details, information online. I don't think that's allowed. So I'm just wondering if the bill addresses such things. I know it's still a draft that is being passed, right? Is there a possibility of it being amended? Is there? Does anyone know? I mean,
Well, the possibilities of it being passed will depend on how we're going to push it. When you give someone pressure, sometimes someone will work on that. And if you don't follow up, then they'll be like, no, they are not serious. Let's also sit and wait what will happen on that. But then it will depend on us as young women and girls in South Sudan. When we push for it, when we continue with this campaign, there is possibility that they are going to pass it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you all for your final remarks. I know we come back on a part 2 episode at some point in a few weeks, where you'll all be able to share what the outcomes of this campaign have been after you have all of your meetings and all those you want to, I'm going to say, apply pressure to pass this bill. So what are your final remarks right now? Just the last things you want to say to South Sudan, especially women, in regards to how important this bill is and how important they also speak up and ask, where is this bill, and have it passed. Anna, we'll start with you.
Well, my remarks to the people of South Sudan is that, the gender-based violence bill is the first law that's going to be passed that will be addressing cases about violence. It's the first law, I mean. So my last remark is that I can push for it, you can push for it, and we can push for it. Together we can do it as one when we support each other. Of course, one hand cannot clap, but then if we join hands and push for these things, it's not only going to favor us as women, because we're not the only one that are going through all these things. Much as men are trying to say we are trying to create our own things, but no, we are not creating things. At the end, they will come to realize that, no, these women, they're trying to push for something that is important for both of us, So my remarks is that we should just push for these things. It's important that we have this bill in South Sudan, because we cannot have all other laws and they're contradicting to each other.
Right.
Yeah. So we cannot have it. And this bill is very important to all of us as people of South Sudan. We should not just put it like men should not take it that they're trying to be protective because they want to bring us down. No, we are not fearing that. So let them just bring it on. Much as they're making noise for us, it's okay. We are taking the noise and blames everything. We are taking it. Whatever they're telling us is okay with us. But so long as we know the impact that is going to come out. So,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Diana.
ما أنا حسيت الزمن فات بسرعة عندي كان كلامات كتير
كان كلام كتير ده تقوليه مش زمان في
Yeah.
الاستوديو قاعد امشي سريع.
في كلمات بتاعتي الأخير أنا في مثل بيقول إنه لو في مرة واحد وقف أن دافع عن نفسه معناته وقف يدافع عن جميع النساء. أنا دير خليه بصفة خاصة نساوين خلوهم يفوكس إنه خليه يقروا قوانين ما قوانين كتير إنت بس امشي في سلوك بتاع القانون العقوبات أعرف حقك وين وأعرف الحياة اللي يصلحوا فيها وين ده واحد. نمرة 2 زي ما أختي جاكي ذكرت فيديو اللي حصل لا أنا متأكد لو إحنا جينا الناس اللي عملوا شيرنج الناس اللي ضيقوا ها بينادي شنو بتلقى في نساوين فيهم. أنا ده خليه نساوين خليه يتفادوا حتة بتاع إنه هم بينشر عشان لخرب سمعة أو لإدانة بتاعت أختهم الثاني. أنا بتمنى إنه لما يشوفوا أي حاجة بتقلق ب GBV أو الأنف ضد النوم خلوهم أوائل الناس خليه يقول أنت بتعرف زولا بتعرف خد نفسك في مكان زولا يمكن حاجة بحصل لك. هي موسم بجتنا ما تبي تلقى ما في نساوين ما عندهم علم بالقضايا اللي بتحصل. حاجة كان حصل لزول بيحكوا زي هيك شمارات وبضحكوا لكن ما قاعدين يعيشوا الدور. ما قاعدين يشوفوا like الحاصل للزول ده شنو. المشروع بتاعت المكافحة بتاعت العنف ضد النوع ده مهم شديد، وهنا كله زي نساء بتاعت جنوب السودان بصفة عامة لازم نجيب ككتلة واحد كيدين واحد عشان بنقدر بنتفر القانون ده انه لما يوصل للبرلمان وخليه يلو من انه ما بكون بقول هنا بيورتي أولوية. خلي القانون ده خليه يكون أولوية. يا خلي القانون ده خليه يكون أولوية. حتى للرجال انا قاعد اقول لهم على فكره حاجه اللي بيحصل لا خد في بالك زي اختصار ده ممكن بيحصل لجناك بيحصل لاختك، لا لازم خلي زول يعيش انه الحاجه اللي بتحصل لا بجد. انا لما نتكلم عن عنف الجنس انا قاعده اتاثر به كتير عشان حقيقه النساوين قاعدين يواجهوه والله مؤسف جدا، وبتحس انه ما قادرين نوصل للحل، وحاجه مضحك شديد. انت عارفين الحاجه دي كل ما بتاخر لشنو ما انه في النهايه انا كنت بعد نختم في عندي زميلي فات في واحد من الولايات عشان يتكلم عن الزواج بتاعت الاطفال، وده هو حاجه الكثير ذاته ما جينا فيه، لكن معظم العيال هنا عمر 15 سنه بيعرسوهم. ساعته فاد يعمل كامبين بتاعت التشايلد ماريد، هو اللي قضته المحافظ المكان ده مرته عمره 16 سنه، للاسف ما قدر يقول حاجه، ما قدر يتكلم عن الحته ده. So let us push that bill as much as all women. Like all of us we are together. خليني نتوقف انه احنا بنلوم اخوات بتاعنا كان فيديو نزلوه واحنا بنقول الكلام البنيه دي في حاجات كده it's painful. ولا كان قاعد تشوف في السوشيال ميديا قاعدين يقولوا عن البنات. خلينا ما ندوا سبب دائما للرجال انه ما نعملوا حاجه ده عشان كده عشان كده عشان كده. يا I think ده كلنا ما يندي ان شاء الله المره الجايه هندونسوا اكتر.
تمام شكرا ديانا. Yes Nyamal.
Of course, the bills it's very important, and my advice to everyone is like be your sister's keeper. Don't be like, oh yeah, she did it. Oh, what she was putting on. Yeah, like why will you be the first person to criticize your fellow women before the man comes in? Today, when you're divorced from your house, it's women who spread it faster. It's women who do ABCD. It's women who will do everything. And then now the men will sit back. Why? Because of us. Like, we don't have this love for ourselves. Just put yourself in your sister's shoes. It could happen to you tomorrow. You came late at work and someone attacked you. But you really need that work because you have to support a family. You have to support that family. So you need that work. If it's ending at 10, you have to come home at 10. Then, you see? Instead of was like, yes, she really need that work. She's working. She's not stealing, and she's not just doing some prostitute work to get the money. She's really working. Even if she comes home at 12, we don't need to criticize her. So we should be our sister's keepers, and we need to know that these bills is very important. It will end many things, especially as my sister Diana said, the child marriage. You see, another old baba is marrying a 16-year-old girl. After 3 weeks, 1 year, he's dead. Now his firstborn is in his school. That boy will be forced to come home to take the father's wife. You have to go to the room with your father's wife so your father can give birth to your father's. What about his kids when he comes?
Yeah.
So you're forced to go, like, you call that woman like your mother one day. And today you're the one sleeping with her just because your father died. So young boys also goes to that. And that GBV bills will help at least to stop those madness. Those young girls will not be getting married to those old babas of 50s, 60s. They're almost close to their way. They should be giving advice to young boys and giving advice to the young girls, not seeing them as a wife to get married to.
Yeah.
So this child marriage thing also is killing young boys. Yeah. So this bill is not only for girls and women, as I said before. The advice goes for everybody because once it's in place, it will end all those things. Our culture also getting us backward in another way or the other. But at least when we have the bills, some will be left out. When the law says you cannot marry, the legal age of marriage is this. And then those babas will not have right to go and get the 16 years old or 14 because they have money, they can buy the girls. Because most of it is like, I'll pay you many cows, take my daughter, and then you are bought. That's why when you're in your house, you have no say. If he died, you have to be given to his son. If you don't, now you are the best one, you are the bad one. And the women of that family will start talking. You see? So let's just be our sister's keepers. If our sister fallen into problems, take it as yourself and take a lead. That's my last call.
That's great advice, actually. Jackie, do you have?
Sure. What I wanted to say is we should not gender the GBV bill. Because sometimes it's because we are women, we are feminists, we are young girls, we are students, we are daughters, we are your sisters. When we talk about this, you feel sometimes some people feel like we are gendering this because we want to overlook men, we want to become indisciplined for us who are kids in the house, okay? One day it will come to your own daughter in the house, it will come to your own sister, your auntie, your mother. So let us not so much gender this to one side because it's our issue. It's not gendering it to a side of a female, like we are trying to push for something that's not, you know, it's not sensitive, I mean important to all of us. So I will leave everybody listening with concern because of one thing that you mentioned following up on with the Ministry of Justice, like the word priority. I do not know, I did justice and peace, I do not know a peace process that is exclusive if it will lead to a sustainable peace. Your kids are being killed, your daughters are being killed, your sisters are being murdered, and we are saying we are, you know, working on peace. What sort of peace on blood of your own children that you give birth to? I don't see if it makes sense. Let us do an holistic peace approach that is very inclusive, human, and valuable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. I think a lot of the times what you were saying in the beginning that it's always women that care about this thing is gendered and so on and so on. That's mostly because a lot of the cases, most of the cases that you hear, majority, I don't care where it's from, the victims are women and the perpetrator is a man. No one will accept harmful behaviors on any other human being, be it a man or a woman. I wouldn't. I know everyone in this room would not. But I talk about what I relate to. I talk about other women and I'm very passionate about them because we are victims in this world and we are victims in a man's world, right? And I have to protect what I know. You know what I mean? It does not mean it does not happen to men. It does not mean that that does not exist, right? It does not mean also that this is something against men, right? But if you want to have a conversation about it, come on. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to have a conversation. What I will not do is allow you to have a conversation with me where you look down on me. That's what's not happening. And that's usually where we clash, right? All I'm asking for is my full rights as a human being. And if that bothers you so much, then yes, there can't be a conversation between me and you. That absolutely cannot happen. Does not mean don't talk about what you want to talk about. Go ahead. No problem. It just means that I'm going to continue doing whatever I'm doing as well, and I'm going to continue speaking about what I'm speaking about without you becoming a problem for me or without you bothering me in any manner. That's not going to, happen. So it's important for us to just understand these parts so that it does not look like, oh no, this bill is just for women, it's just about women. No, we're pushing for it because we're the most hurt out here, right? And we're looking for some peace and quiet in this world, and we're speaking up for other women, for other young girls, and so on and so on. And that's why you find us being the most vocal when it comes to GBV, SGBV, and so on. Harmful traditions or harmful laws. I mean, it's not a secret that we are basically a country that operates under a customary law, especially when it comes to anything that has to do with women, right? So, yeah, these are just facts. It's just the reality of us. And I think my last words would be, I like what Diana mentioned, and also I think Nyamal mentioned, stand for other women, be your sister's keeper, and do not be judgmental. Like, I think I always say this, there's nobody without sin. We are all glass houses. You know, there's always something that you have done that you're ashamed of, that you also grow from, that you also become better from. And even if you don't, you have no right to, you know, no one has the right to judge you. That's something that only God can do, and we have to stop being judgmental of other women. I see it all of the time. You know, online, someone gets a picture posted, or, oh, well, what was she doing there? She brought it onto herself. Girl, yours is just not on the internet. That's the only thing that's happening here. Right. So let's stop being judgmental. Everyone has a right to privacy. No one has the right to, you know, intrude in your space. Whether that person is your father or mother or brother or whoever, nobody owns you, right?
You touch a very important point. Sorry for.
Go
Because
ahead.
that's where the misconcept always comes when we talk about GBV. They think it's like we are so much focusing on women things, but then the most important thing that you have just mentioned now, it's because a lot of this happens to women. We have not seen men being killed. We have not seen boys being killed. Like some kind of behaviors even by their parents in their home. You have not seen boys being done side, and that's why women and children and girls, for example, is becoming a priority depending on the level of inhuman act that happens. And that's where the misconcept always comes. Oh, you're talking about women things, girl things, what about boys? Have you ever seen like how many men are being killed by women? How many boys are being killed by their sisters? It's not happening. Like it's happening to girls.
I mean, I'm sure it's happening, but the rates are quite different. I think that's why what comes in your radar is usually about women, because that's what's happening every day, and that's the reality that everyone is in. Not that it doesn't happen the other way around. It probably does, and it would need attention, and somebody would need to talk about it. So I also encourage men to speak about what is happening to them, and calling out for justice or the right thing when it comes to the other end. But it does not stop me from speaking about my own rights. It does not stop me from speaking about women. It does not stop me from speaking about our realities. I think that's the point we're trying to make. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I mean, this bill is not out yet. We're still looking at what is happening. These amazing young ladies and their teams are following up closely with ministries and everyone that was involved in drafting this bill. We know that it sits at the Ministry of Justice right now, which is being followed up with. And we should have more answers to you in a few weeks when these ladies come back. And I think other team members are going to join us as well. And they would be able to tell us a bit more about what is the outcome and how far we've gone with it. It does not mean that it will end there even. We're going to keep on pushing until this bill is implemented or this bill is passed. It's that important to us. Tell us in the comments, what is important to you? Why is the bill important to you? And why do you think this bill should be passed? What do you think is a priority right now, if not this? What accounts for priority? Since we keep hearing this is not a priority at the moment, what do you think? I also give an open call to the Ministry of Gender, to the Parliament and the Ministry of Justice to come on the show and tell us why this bill has not been passed. What is holding it up? What is happening? We would love. This is not an attack. It is a necessity. Right? This is why we're following up with it. So we would love for you to come on the show, and we want to hear from you. What is going on? What is happening? What can we do to help you pass this bill. We also put an open call out for you to come on the show. And everyone that is watching, please leave in the comments below. Let us know, what are your thoughts? I would love to read out some of your thoughts in the next episode where these young ladies join us. And that would be our comeback for this season. High five, Jackie. We did it once again. And I would like to say thank you to all of you. Anna, Diana, and Yamal, thank you for being here. Next week, I'm going to have someone I actually don't want to mention who this guest is. But it's a very important guest and someone I have been waiting to introduce to all of you. We also will have another live performance by a woman artist. We are promoting women's music. We are promoting women in this industry. So next week we will have another artist to open the show. Can you guess? No, you already know. Can you guess? You can't? No? Who do you think we should bring on? I think we're gonna. It'll be a surprise. It'll be a surprise. I think I've taken much more time than I was supposed to. So signing out. My name is Eva Lopa, and with me is Jackie Ben, and we will see you next week, same time, same place. Advanced Youth Radio. Drive home safe. We're out.